How you doing, sir?
How's it going, man? Can I help you?
Can I just have one sandwich, please? Just one.
What kind of sandwich?
Yeah, you know, a sandwich. Just one sandwich. That's it.
What type of sandwich do you want? I got a bunch of them.
The one that you eat. The sandwich.
What kind of sandwich? There's a ton of them.
Oh boy, oh gee, I don't know. The type that you eat?
Hey, what's up, man? Can I help you?
Yeah, how you doing, boss? Let me get a bacon, egg, and cheese, salt and pepper, hold the ketchup, eggs fried on an egg everything bagel, and a medium coffee, would you? Black. Thanks.
Coming right up. Yo, what's going on, guys? So, I know that video was a little over the top, but it definitely got my point across for sure. If you don't understand music theory, it's kind of like you going into a deli and asking for a sandwich. Because delis, they have their ingredients, and then they put those ingredients together to serve you a sandwich, which then you will eat. Music is similar, kind of the same thing, honestly. In music, you have a lot of different ingredients, notes, and you add those ingredients together, chords, and then you could serve it to your audience as music. You're a chef, pretty much, and your goal is to arrange the ingredients in such a way where it's really nice and your audience loves it. So basically, if a song requires you to deliver a certain sound, music theory allows you to compartmentalize sounds in your head and understand what it is that makes that certain sound that you might be looking for, aka an ingredient, and then be able to pull it out, kind of like a toolbox. What if you know nothing about music theory? Well, you're shit out of luck. Sorry, no, kidding. It's not as intimidating as it sounds. So we're just gonna dive right into it, ready? With music, notes are your ingredients. And you're gonna learn how to layer those ingredients together to make a nice sandwich. In music, every pitch is assigned a letter or a note. That's where you get A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. If I play that on the piano, I have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then it goes back to A, B, C. So let's try creating a delicious 5-star meal. I think the first thing you need to understand is that there's distances between notes. Every time I go up one note, that's immediately to the next note. That's called a half step or a semitone. They're very, very close to each other. So if I start from here and I go up to C sharp and I play them together, they're very, very close to each other. They're like bunking heads. It's kind of like two of the same personalities. Like, you guys usually end up fighting a lot. Whole step is when I go up 2 notes or 2 semitones. So for instance, this is 1 semitone. Now if I go up 2, 1, 2, that's now a whole step. Music is just a compilation of whole steps and half steps arranged in a certain way. Let's say I arrange these whole steps and half steps in a certain way. That's gonna give me a certain sound depending on the formula that I use. Which these notes are gonna. Oh my god, what the fuck? I can't even talk. Okay, here we go. So let's say I take these whole steps and half steps, right, and I plug them into a formula. This is going to be a major scale formula. A major scale is typically a very pretty sounding, positive sounding group of notes. Right? Very pretty, very chicken, avocado, very healthy. Let's say I start with C, okay? I'm gonna go up I'm going to go up one whole step, right? Because I'm skipping a note, so that's 2 semitones. I'm going to go up another whole step to E. Now I'm going to go up a half step, or 1 semitone to F. Now I'm going to go up a whole step from F to G, go up another whole step from G to A, go up another whole step from A to B, and then a half step from B to C. That's going to be a major scale formula. This is now going to be a C major scale. A scale is pretty much a group of notes that you've identified that you can use that'll give you a certain sound. And a scale is kind of like your building blocks for pretty much everything. So if I follow this formula, I plug it into C, I get a C major sound, C major scale. And then I could use that scale, because those are going to be kind of like my ingredients now, right? And I could arrange them in certain ways and use them to play now in the key of C. So major keys are your grilled chicken, your lettuce, your avocado, maybe a little bit of grain. And then minor key signatures is your late night ice cream, topped with Ferrero Rochers, binge watching your favorite romantic drama after your girlfriend just broke up with you at 2 a.m. on a Saturday night. So one thing that you need to know is that there's kind of like a formula or a recipe for each type of key. There's a lot of different kinds of keys and stuff, but the first one that you really need to know about is major and minor keys, right? So we know the major scale formula, right? There's also a minor scale formula, which I'm not going to get into now because we're going to kind of just focus on major keys right now. The different types of keys are going to be what type of restaurant you want to go to. You know, you're not going to go into a healthy restaurant or like a healthy takeout restaurant and find burgers, French fries, milkshakes, grilled cheese. We figured out which notes make up this major key signature, right? So we can now see the notes and we can give them numbers. So for instance, C is going to be 1, D is going to be 2, E is going to be 3, F is now 4, G is 5, A is 6, B is 7, and then C would be 8 or back to 1. Intervals are the distance between two notes. If I go from C to D, I went from the first to the second, and I'm in a major key signature because that's the formula that we used. So this is a major second interval because there's 2 notes here, right? Now if I go from C to E, that's going to be a major third interval because I have C, E, because I have C, D, and then E. If I go from here, from C to F, that's going to be a perfect fourth interval. And then you have perfect fifth, major sixth, major seventh, and then octave, or 8, perfect eighth, whichever one you want to call it. So since each note is an ingredient, when I pair 2 of them together, it gives me a certain flavor. If I pair C and D together, it's going to be okay. It's kind of like ketchup and grape jelly. If I go from C to E, it sounds pretty nice. It's not bad. If I go from C to F, different flavor. If I go from C to G, different flavor. C to A, different flavor. C to B. And you notice how that B wants to kind of pull its way to C? Because they're super close to each other, it creates a lot of tension. And tension wants to be resolved. So, if I play C and B at the same time, it's going to naturally want to go to a C. So now that I'm a deli, I have my ingredients. Let's try finding a good recipe. So now when I start playing multiple notes together, you get chords. And chords are going to be your sandwiches. A triad is the most basic form of a chord for the most part. It's complex enough to give you a taste, but not too complex where it's going to confuse people. Triads are like your BLTs. Tri meaning 3 notes. Triangle, right? Triangle has 3 sides. So a triad has 3 notes to it. You play one note, skip a note, play another note. You play a note, skip a note, play another note, skip a note, and play another note. So it's gonna look like this. I'm gonna play a note, skip a note, play a note, skip a note, play another note. In context of the scale, I have C, E, and G, which is the root, the third, and the fifth. It's a pretty sounding chord, right? It's kind of like your BLT. This is now gonna be my 1 chord in the key of C major. If I started on the 2nd note of the scale, this is now gonna be my 2nd chord in the scale, my number 2 chord, which is gonna be D minor. If I started on the 3rd, it's gonna be E minor. If I started on the 4th, it's gonna be F major. If I started on the 5th, it's gonna be G major. If I started on the 6th, it's gonna be A minor. If I started on the 7th, it's gonna be B diminished. And then I go back to C. Even chords have formulas. The formula for a major chord is you start with whatever note it is that you're trying to build the chord off of. You go up 4 semitones from there. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I go up 3 from there. 1, 2, 3. So this is a major chord formula. Any major key signature, you're naturally going to get 3 major chords. And those major chords are going to lend themselves to the 1st note of the scale, the 4th note of the scale, and the 5th note of the scale. The major chords in a key signature are always, because this is universal, is always going to be the 1, the 4, and the 5 chords. Now we know C majors are 1 chord. We know F major is our 4 chord, which has F, A, and C in it. And then we know G, which is G, B, D. G major is our 5th chord. So let's take a basic major chord progression in the key of C. Just like you can make a bacon, lettuce, tomato, you can make a tomato, lettuce, bacon. Let me show you what I mean. It's been like 2 months since my last haircut. Let's say I take this, a regular C major chord. Let's say I want to rearrange it. I could rearrange them in a different way. They're still going to sound kind of the same, just like if I took a BLT, but I made it an LTB or a TLB. It's still the same sandwich. It's just going to, be arranged a little differently. This is C, E, and then G, with C being the bass note. So this chord is built off of C. Now, if I take this C, and let's say I put it on the top layer, I'm going to remove the bacon at the bottom, I'm going to put the bacon at the top, keeping these notes down. This is now still a C major chord, but this is going to be C major 1st inversion. Let's say I do the same thing with this chord shape, and I take this E and I move it up while holding these. That's still a C major chord because I still have those 3 ingredients, but now I'm playing it in a different way. So let's say I take this F major chord, which is F, A, C, and I move this C down to here. That's still an F chord. So now I can go C to F. And now I just played a 1 to 4 chord progression. Let's say I take this G chord and I move this I move this D down to here. This is also a G chord, but let's find it a little bit closer. So I'm going to take this B. I just burped. I'm going to take this B and move it down. Good. Now that's going to be a G chord. So I can now go C to F chord, back to C, back to G, and now to C. So now that's a 1, 4, 1, 5, 1 chord progression. Very basic, but starting to sound like something, right? It's my mom's phone up there. Look, let me show you. This is my mom's phone, and it's been beeping every 2 seconds. She's popular. She's so popular. What?
You have my phone?
Okay. Music theory is just a guideline. This isn't like you have to do this So I hope this helped. If it did, throw it a like, throw me a subscribe. If you feel like I missed anything, you can throw them in the comments below. If there's anything else that you guys want to see, I know to all of my 70 subscribers, you know, subscribe, throw it a like, 'cause it's definitely gonna help me out a lot. I'm gonna be making a lot more videos. If you guys have any recommendations for me, please let me know. I'm totally open to it. And I hope you enjoyed, and stay tuned.